What up, folks? I'm back once again doing another video game review, and this time I'm reviewing Super Ghouls N Ghosts for the Super Nintendo, which was made by Capcom. And Super Ghouls N Ghosts is pretty much the third game that was released within the Ghosts and Goblins series. And pretty much the plot of the game is that the evil Emperor Stardust pretty much kidnapped the princess, and Arthur goes out and saves her from him. And you will notice like a vast improvement between Super Ghouls N Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins if you played Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. But I'll get to that later. Now, the one thing you will notice that there are some enemies from Ghosts and Goblins that made a return to Super Ghouls N Ghosts, like the zombies, and then there's like some other enemies that's pretty much new to the to Super Ghouls N Ghosts, like the wolves that like jump from every time you move. You go to the right, they jump to the right. You go to the left, they jump to the left. Stuff like that. Now with Ghosts and Goblins for the NES, the main hazard in that game was the enemies themselves. Now with Super Ghouls N Ghosts, there are more hazards that you will come up against, like the spikes or the waterfall, which that one will instantly kill you. And like you won't necessarily find treasure chests, but the treasure chest will pop up, and you can use your enemies to break not the enemies, but your weapon to break it open. You can find like different objects, like pretty much different items like weapons and armor upgrades. But you gotta be careful because an evil magician might be in that treasure chest, and it might take, and pretty much will take you out. So we gotta be careful of that. Plus, there are more weapons in Super Ghouls N Ghosts than in Ghosts and Goblins. In Ghosts and Goblins, you pretty much had the lance, the fireball, the knife, and the shield. The weapons in Super Ghouls N Ghosts are pretty much the lance, the dagger, axe, crossbow, the scythe, the tri-blade, and the goddess bracelet. Now, pretty much all the weapons, with the exception of the goddess bracelets, have upgrades to them. But you need the armor upgrade to get the weapon upgrade. Now, Super Ghouls N Ghosts is pretty much like Ghosts and Goblins in that if you get hit once, you lose your armor, and if it happen to be the upgraded armor, you pretty much you will lose that. If you get hit the second time, you die. And if it just so happens if you had the weapon upgrade, you'll lose the weapon upgrade, but keep the original weapon that you had before it was upgraded. And now Super Ghouls N Ghosts, it pretty much has 8 stages to it. Of course, each of them have a different boss to them. And the thing about Super Ghouls N Ghosts, I don't think you have to beat the game twice to see the true ending like it was with Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. Now, the graphics and level designs of Super Ghouls N Ghosts was borrowed from Ghosts and Goblins, but Capcom pretty much made some improvements with both of them. You know, and the difference does show, and it's pretty much better. The graphics and level design of Super Ghouls N Ghosts is better than what you would see with Ghosts and Goblins, and that's pretty much saying a lot, seeing that Ghosts and Goblins graphics and level design was pretty good themselves. You know, And there were some improvements with the gameplay in that the jumps aren't stiff. The you could control where you land after you jump, and then Capcom pretty much added a double jump to it. And the one thing that I do like the gameplay is that is the addition of you pretty much have more weapons to choose from, and I don't think the torches and Super Ghouls and Ghosts is as weak as the torches that is as weak as the torch and Ghosts and Goblins. I'm trying to say. I don't know why it's like I'm getting tongue tied right about now, but that's cool. But I ain't gonna worry about that. Then there's the soundtrack. It's pretty much the soundtrack that you'll hear from Ghosts and Goblins. But what Capcom now I will say that the soundtrack of the Ghosts and Goblins is good, but Capcom just took it and made a better 16-bit rendition of that particular soundtrack. We're just saying a lot. Like I said, the soundtrack to Ghosts and Goblins is good. They just made it. Capcom just made it better in Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, much like Ghosts and Goblins, is known for its difficulty, but in my opinion, Super Ghouls and Ghosts is more challenging than it is frustrating. You don't want to like go and break your controller, but you want to go on and actually beat the game. So and plus, Capcom took what was great about Ghosts and Goblins, put it in Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and addressed the gripes people had with Ghosts and Goblins when they made Super Ghouls and Ghosts. It's pretty, to me, it's pretty similar to how Nintendo did with like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Super Metroid when Nintendo made those two games for the Super Nintendo. From an overall standpoint, Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a great game, probably one of the best games within the Ghosts and Goblins series. I could definitely say it's one of the best games that Capcom has made for the Super Nintendo. Straight up, some might say it's the best Super Nintendo game that Capcom has made. Some might say it's Super Street Fighter 2. But Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a great game nonetheless. As far as the score is concerned, I would definitely give Super Ghouls and Ghosts a 9. With that being said, if you like Super Ghouls and Ghosts or it happened to be one of your favorite games of all time, you can mention it in the comment section. If you like this review of Super Ghouls and Ghosts, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy, Big Metroid Fan 12, signing off.